Have you ever heard of a place so forgotten that it was erased from maps? A place where time simply stopped? Today we're going to explore the chilling mystery of San Damiano, a village that vanished in the 1960s, leaving behind a silence so deep it screams. This story begins with a young documentary filmmaker, let's call him Alex. While rummaging through antique shops, he stumbled upon an old, faded map. Tucked away in a corner, almost invisible, was a small marker. San Damiano. The village didn't exist on any modern map, not even on satellite imagery. It was as if it had been wiped from the face of the earth. Intrigued, Alex found what looked like an old, overgrown access road, a path long swallowed by nature. This was it. This was the road to San Damiano. His journey started with a sense of adventure, but that feeling quickly soured. As Alex drove deeper into the forest, a strange feeling washed over him. His car's GPS flickered and died. The temperature dropped, and the vibrant sounds of the forest, the birds, the insects, faded into an unsettling quiet. Soon, a thick, unnatural fog rolled in, blanketing the road ahead. The only sound was the strained hum of his car's engine. He felt like he was driving into another world. Then, emerging from the mist, he saw it. A rusty, weather-beaten sign. Carved into the metal were the words, "Welcome to the village of San Damiano, founded in 1899. He had arrived, but as he drove past the sign, he couldn't shake the feeling that he hadn't found the village, but that the village had found him. What Alex discovered next was beyond anything he could have imagined. San Damiano was perfectly preserved, a ghost town frozen in the 1960s. The houses were intact, their doors slightly ajar as if the residents had just stepped out. Through the windows, he could see tables set for dinner, food still on the plates, now covered in a thick layer of dust. In a living room, a television from that era sat silent. In another, clothes were neatly folded on a bed. But the most disturbing detail was that all the clocks in the village, wall clocks, grandfather clocks, even wristwatches left on nightstands, were stopped at the exact same time, 3:15. It was as if every person in San Damiano had vanished in the same single second. There were no signs of a struggle, no bodies, nothing to explain the sudden collective disappearance. The entire village was a silent testament to a moment that had stretched into an eternity of emptiness. At the heart of the village stood an old stone church, its steeple piercing the fog. A cold wind whistled through the belfry, causing the ancient bell to emit a faint, mournful chime. Alex looked up at the church's clock face. Its hands were also frozen at 3:15. He later learned from hushed conversations in a nearby town that the locals had their own legend about San Damiano. They swore that on certain nights, the church bell would ring out on its own, loud and clear, echoing through the valley. It always rang at the same time, 3:15 in the morning, a ghostly alarm that no one was left to hear. Chills ran down Alex's spine. This wasn't just a forgotten place, it was a place haunted by its own stopped time, a place where a single moment was cursed to repeat itself forever. Driven by his journalistic instincts, Alex began to explore the buildings, hoping to find a clue, any explanation for the mass disappearance. He entered the old one-room schoolhouse. Books were open on desks, chalk still resting on the blackboard ledge. On the teacher's desk, he found what he was looking for. A leather-bound diary from 1964. He carefully opened the brittle pages. The teacher's elegant cursive chronicled the daily life of the village, the children's games, the harvest festival, the small-town gossip. It was all so normal, so mundane. But as he reached the final entries, the tone shifted dramatically. Her handwriting became frantic, almost illegible. She wrote about a strange fever that had swept through the village. It wasn't a deadly illness, she explained. It didn't cause pain. In her last, terrifying entry, she wrote, "The fever doesn't kill. It only makes people sleep, and they never, ever wake up again." daylight began to fade, the fog thickened and a deep, oppressive darkness fell over San Damiano. The silence he'd first encountered was now replaced by something far more sinister. Faint whispers seemed to drift on the wind, seeming to come from the empty houses around him. They were indistinct, like the rustling of leaves, but they sounded like human voices. Heart-pounding, Alex peered into the window of a nearby home. For a split second, he saw them, silhouettes of people standing motionless in the dark, their faces turned towards him as if they were watching. He recoiled in shock, then mustered the courage to burst through the door, camera ready. But the house was empty. Dust motes danced in the beam of his flashlight, but there was no one there. It happened again and again. A glimpse of a figure in a window, a shadow in a doorway, but upon investigating he found nothing. The whispers grew louder, surrounding him. He was no longer alone in the silence. Terrified but determined to uncover the truth, Alex made his way to the village cemetery at the edge of the woods. The iron gate groaned as he pushed it open. The cemetery was overgrown, filled with ancient, moss-covered tombstones. He began to read the names, hoping to find a link to the teacher's diary. That's when he saw it. A newer section of the cemetery with polished granite headstones that looked completely out of place. He approached one, his flashlight beam trembling. The name carved into the stone was that of a resident he read about in the Teacher S diary. But then he saw the date of death, the current day's date. He moved to the next one, and the next. They all bore the same date. His blood ran cold when he found a headstone with his own name carved into it. Below his name was today's date. Underneath each name was a small porcelain photograph. The images showed the villagers, the ones he'd glimpsed in the windows, wearing the exact same clothes, their faces frozen in placid, sleeping expressions. The final horror was the empty space on his own tombstone, right below his name, waiting for a photograph that had not yet been taken. Panic set in. Alex fumbled for his camera, trying to document the impossible scene in the cemetery, the houses, the clocks. He had to show the world, but when he played back the footage, the screen showed only distorted, glitching images. The audio was worse, a cacophony of static, and underneath it all, faint, echoing voices from another time. He had to get out. He ran to his car, started the engine, and sped back down the road he came in on. But no matter how far he drove, the fog never cleared. After 10 minutes of frantic driving, he saw the rusty welcome sign for San Damiano appear in his headlights again. He had driven in a circle. He tried again, taking a different path, but the result was the same. The road itself seemed to be rejecting him, twisting and turning back on itself. The village wouldn't let him leave. He was trapped. Hours passed. The moon was high in the sky, barely visible through the thick fog. Alex, now desperate and losing hope, found a weak, intermittent internet signal on his phone. It was his last chance. He recorded a short, frantic video message for his close friend, a fellow filmmaker. With a trembling voice, he held the phone up to his face, his eyes wide with terror. "They're not dead," he whispered, glancing nervously at the dark houses around him. "They're sleeping, and they made me stay. They want me to sleep too. Whatever you do, don't come here. Don't look for San Damiano." The video feed cut out abruptly, but not before one final sound was captured, the loud, clear, chilling ring of the church bell. It was 3:15 a.m. That was the last anyone ever heard from Alex. Days later, authorities, alerted by his worried friend, found Alex's abandoned car on the side of that old, overgrown road. There was no sign of him. More unnervingly, there was no sign of a village. Police searched the area for miles, but found nothing but dense forest. The official report concluded he likely got lost and succumbed to the elements. But two pieces of evidence were found at the scene that defy explanation. Lying in the dirt next to the car was a rusty metal license plate, not from a car but from a sign. On it were the faded words, "Welcome Welcome to the village of San Damiano. Beside it was Alex's camera, broken. When investigators managed to recover the data from the memory card, they found only one file, a single corrupted image. The last image the camera ever took. It was a blurry shot of Alex's face, twisted in fear. But what made the investigators' blood run cold was the reflection in his eyes. A clear, distinct reflection of a person standing behind him, their face stretched into a wide, silent smile. The mystery of San Damiano and the fate of the filmmaker who found it remains unsolved. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more chilling stories.